Here at Solar Atom RV, we do everything high class. Here's my bed set up for the weekend. Got a cot in the back of the Pathfinder. Of course, the leg doesn't reach all the way to the ground, so just grab an old stick of stove wood. Surely that'll work. We'll see. So I was just about to pull out of the driveway and looked up, and I saw a little flock of turkeys blocking my direction. Got some neighborhood gobblers that hang out. They've been here for a couple of years. I think this is actually the second group. First group was pretty small, just a few of them, and then this group was hatched. There's about 7 or 8 of them. They seem to know the timing of the seasons and what's available. I've got some blackberry bushes behind my house, and they just so happen to come by right at time for the blackberries to get ripe. Pluck all those. I've also got some grapes, and they just so happen to come by right about the time the grapes get nice and ripe. Come by and pluck all those. Alright, we're about to kick off this adventure. Got the Pathfinder loaded down with all the accoutrement. We'll see how this goes. I'm sure I'm forgetting something, but oh well. We'll get it tomorrow, I guess. We'll see y'all in a bit. Alright, well here's the nighttime situation. So we got pulled into the campsite just as it was getting dark. Mom and Dad helped me get things set up and started. So piled up in here in the Pathfinder. And got my little just spun around here. Of course, I'm laying backwards right now. Got the head up there where my feet are. Got all my extra cover and jackets and whatnot junk laying around. It's a pretty cozy little spot for the night. So I think I'll pretty much call it done. And we'll see you all in the morning. Well, timing seems to be a lot different camping than just being there at the house. So, got here, went to bed about 9:30 or so, I guess. Thought, I'm tired, been running around. I'll get a bunch of sleep. This will be good. 11:30, wake up, toss and turn, toss and turn, toss and turn. And about midnight, finally get up, go to the bathroom, get a little sip of water. Now I'm awake. So I guess we'll see. I'll fall back asleep in a little bit. Looks like it's get a little bit of sleep when we can, not just straight to bed, sleep 8 hours, get up, feeling nice and refreshed. Well, good morning. It's about 6:50. Sun started coming up at about 6, and we're getting lighter, and pretty light now, about 6:50. See if we can flip the camera around. Starting to be pretty light out there. Well, it didn't freeze to death last night, but it definitely got a little chilly. I usually keep the temperature in the house about 68, 70. And last night it got down to 53.6. Got a little Raspberry Pi with a temperature probe running, and wrote a little Python script that logs the temperature once an hour. Pretty fun little project to mess with. The sun's just coming in the valley, hitting the tops of the trees. Kind of cool looking. Neat little secluded spot here Dad's got. Looks like it dropped another couple of degrees between 7 and 9. Neil deGrasse Tyson with Star Talk, a YouTube channel, has a pretty cool explainer about that. The title of it was, "Is it darkest before the dawn?" And I'll let you watch that to find out. But it's pretty cool the way it talks about the way the sun warms up the earth and then it cools back down. So I'm definitely glamping instead of camping, a little glamour camping, doing the inside the Pathfinder, and got a little heating pad running at my feet, try to keep my feet warm, which actually worked out really well last night. Feels pretty comfortable at my feet. So I was just looking at my little watt meter here, and it's pulling about, what, 2.6, 2.7 watts. That's not too bad. And we'll see what it's done over the night. It takes more when it first kicks on. So 0.23 kilowatts for the night. That was starting about 9 or so last night. So here's a little update on the heating pad situation. About every hour or so I'd wake up last night and look, and that little red light be blinking. And this morning I noticed those nasty little words, auto shut off. So goofy thing was putting itself into shut off mode. So felt warm while it was on. Seemed to be decent in between. I thought it was in like just a warming mode, but I tested it this morning and nope, it's cold, not producing any heat when it's in shut off mode. So not the end of the world, but a little annoying that it cuts itself off. So we're getting set up for some breakfast here. Dad's got the charcoal grill fired up. Got a little plate of goodies. He already cut up some bacon. Got to get a little campfire going. Old bear wallow in the background. Got these little setup here. These little pot holders, pot hangers for my Uncle Sam. Yep, got the morning started. Got a little fire rolling behind us. Dad's got some bacon frying in the pan. Looking good. Well, I noticed while editing the video, check out the difference in my attire versus Dad's. He's running around t-shirt and shorts, and I'm dressed up like I'm at the North Pole. I did get a little cold at night, even in the house, under a full electric blanket. So it'll be interesting to see how I handle out in the real cold outside. Alright, Dad got the bacon fried up for us here. Got some taters fried in the pan. We'll go for our taste test here. Oh my God, that's good. It's a really good flavor. Good and tender. Can't beat that first thing in the morning. We just added some pecan chunks of wood to the charcoal cooking the taters. Give it a little smell and flavor. It's starting to brown up, looking good. Alright, so I finally found my missing solar panel. Of course, it was exactly where I left it with my telescopes. I used it charging some stuff. I was doing some pictures of the sun. So dug it out and got it here. A little travel solar panel. So got it hooked up, and we're gonna plug up the little iPhone to it and see how much power we can get out of it. So we got the iPhone. Plug it up here. It appears that a couple of pieces of bacon have broken off and fallen into the taters. Alright, well, we've got our solar panel fired up here, and if I can get the smoke out of my eyes, we'll see if we can plug it up and see how much charge we're getting out of it. Looks like we're dumping about 0.7 amps into the little iPhone. Yeah, dropping down a little bit, but the iPhone was pretty much charged up, so it's not taking a bunch of power. This thing says it's 21 watts. We'll see if we can get it to do that. Yeah, it looks like the taters are done. Nice and golden brown. A couple little chunks of bacon in there. Alright, looks like we're getting ready to get some taters off the grill, so we'll go for that. Oh yeah, looking good. Oh, tastes good too. Bacon flavored taters. That's the way to get the day started. Well, I ran my little water bottle dry this morning, so I'm going to refill. Bought me some strawberry watermelon drink enhancer at Walmart, so we'll give it a try. I haven't tasted that flavor before. Old Stanley thermos I've had for 1,000 years. Thing works good. Does everything except how long to squirt it in there. 1 squeeze for each 8 fluid ounces. 16, a couple of squeezes. Pretty good. So my little solar panel, the bigger of the two that I brought with me this time, but it's a 15 watt, so it doesn't produce a whole lot, but it wasn't working earlier. So me and Dad took all 20, 30 screws off the back of it, took it apart, wiggled the cable a little bit, and put it back together. And now, so I got, we're going from the solar panel through my little watt meter, going into just a battery pack. And of course the clouds are in the way now, but we're getting about 6 or 7 watts into it earlier. Okay, so we did a little rearranging. Got the solar panel stick out in the sun, in between the clouds. Looks like now we're getting about 12 to 13 watts out of a 15 watt panel. It's pretty good. Going into the little battery pack here. So the solar panel, every time it would warm up in the sun, would stop working. It would work for a little while, stop, work for a little while, stop. So Dad and I decided to take it completely apart and see what was going on with it. So we took all the screws out and pried it apart and discovered that there was a short, like the solder joint must have been a cold solder joint from the factory. There was a little blob of solder at the end of the wire, but nothing on the lead that was coming out of the solar panel. So Once we got it all taken apart and saw all that, took it downstairs, Dad fired up his soldering iron, and we reconnected the wire to the lead coming off the solar panel. While heading down to the garage to get the soldering iron, we spotted this nasty little thing laying on the ground. This is what we saw when we got down to the garage. Had the panel apart. A tiny little lead coming off the end of the panel. That's where the cold solder joint just popped off. Since I knew I was going over to Mom and Dad's, I took my work pants that had a hole or a threadbare part in the pocket. Mom's real good at sewing. So I figured I'd get some advice on how to put some patches on so I can patch those back together. The advice she had for me was to not use the iron-on patches just by themselves, because glue breaks down after you wash them a time or two and they just fall right back off.
Do that a little wider.
And there we have the finished product. She sewed the patch on. She actually took the pocket apart and so she could get to the inside of it, and then sewed the patch on, then put some reinforcement down through the middle of it, and then sew the pocket back together. It's pretty amazing. I don't know how she knows how to do all that stuff. I actually wore the pants to work the other day, and they worked perfectly.
Yeah, the actual planes, they've been coming over with the Paris sales. That's the first time I've seen those. They're love for lights. Uh-huh.
I took this picture of the setup to show a friend of mine. He does some camping and was interested in how I was going to be camping in the Pathfinder. So it's a bit messy. There's just a bunch of stuff thrown all over the floor, and that was going to be my next round of putting some shelves in there so that way I can organize my stuff. So I've got the shelves in now. So that'll be some future videos on how to organize those and how the stuff stays in there or falls off, or how those adventures go. So one trick to all this is that's the way that I have to get in, kind of Dukes of Hazzard style. So with the cot in there and the air mattress and the cover and everything, makes it a little bit tight to crawl through that little bitty hole to get in, but it's doable. The cotton air mattress definitely make it comfortable laying in there. The second night, I slept on that and slept like a baby.
It is an eternal flame now if I don't lose my phone.
It didn't get down quite as cold the second night. It was about 4 degrees warmer. Well, I slept great last night. Dad hooked me up with an air mattress, put on top of the cot. Yeah, it's like sleeping on a cloud. So I set my little solar panel up out in the sun this morning, just checking to see how much wattage we're getting. Getting about 9 watts. It's about 11 o'clock. So I was messing with my little solar panel, going charging into a little battery pack that I have, but just dumping the power straight into it without a charge controller. So I saw it was getting up to 16 and a half volts. So normally it charges about 14 or so. Probably still okay with just this little amount of power, but definitely need to dig out one of my charge controllers and feed it through that so it could limit it when the battery gets peaked out. So I plugged up my old cell phone, my current cell phone, and it did drop it down to 13.5 volts. So a little bit of charge coming out of the inverter from this little battery pack seemed to settle the voltage down. So still getting the 9 watts or so out of the solar panel and getting the inverter to AC just to bleed some power. Mom had set a puzzle out to work on before I got there, and they'd had a couple of pieces put together, but not too many. So through the night, we were just talking and having a good time and putting pieces together, and got closer and closer to having it put together. So the second morning, Mom had fixed grits and gravy and eggs and biscuits. We were feasting well this weekend. After breakfast, we started working on the puzzle again. Looked like we're almost got it put together. Had to find out where that last piece goes. Just before I unplugged everything, I took one last look at the watt meter. It looks like I used 0.44 kilowatt hours. I lucked out even more this weekend, and my cousin was having a birthday party, so I got to hang out with some of the family. And her sister was going around drawing portraits of people. Looks like she captured my likeness pretty good.